Disney does not deserve to hold the rights of Star Wars. At this very juncture, they are trying so very hard to destroy everything George Lucas has created. Oh, if I was old Georgie boy, I'd make a very public statement about how much I despise this bad knockoff facsimile of my artistic vision. And then I would present them with two very articulate words that would best express my true feelings for them. And those words are as follows. Fuck you, buddy! Greetings, ladies and gents, it's Mannix here, and I know it's been a while. Daddy's been very busy, but I'm back and I'm raring to go. Hit that like button. Let's get this channel back where it belongs. Now, before we start today's volcanic video, I need to get an important preface out of the way first. The problem with Star Wars is that as a series, it is creatively bankrupt. The writers always fall back on lightsabers, the Empire, or already established characters. And if you juxtapose that with the fact that they can't exactly write anything new, because the series is so deeply rooted in the generic good versus bad or light versus dark, everything is so surface layer without any real substance to keep you hooked, other than the very predictable, obvious member berries that's dangled in front of you. Anyway, when I heard that they were creating an Obi-Wan Kenobi show, I said there's no way you can f this up. I mean, this is quite literally the easiest slam dunk in the history of television. But what am I thinking? This is the greedy Mickey Mouse we're talking about. That dastardly rodent cannot help himself. This Kenobi TV show was marketed to me as an equivalent installment to the films to fit between episode 3 and 4, just in the form of a limited series, and with that they had my attention. But unfortunately, the reality is that this is just a high-budget TV show with the subsequent mediocre adventures of the week. Kenobi is one of the only TV shows that looks cheap and expensive at the same time. Aesthetically, it looks like a fan film on YouTube. My only criticism so far is, let me see, terrible acting, bad CGI, horrible directing, nonsensical writing, and Xena warrior princess-like action scenes. Besides that, everything is well cushy, mate. There will never be anything in existence that will set an example of how not to do something. The only impressive thing about episode 4 is how they were able to fit all that stupidity in just half an hour. Episode 4 is by far the worst. There is so much garbage in episode 4 that is up there with The Room. Yes, The Room, where Tommy Wiseau is replaced by Ewan McGregor. The disguise that Obi-Wan had with the giant bulge from Leia hiding in it was the most ridiculous fucking thing. Oh my god, how can that fool anyone? I mean, wow, that was so goofy in the worst way. Leia hiding within Kenobi's trench coat was beyond farcical. All that scene needed was a Benny Hill soundtrack. Jesus Christ. Can you imagine Qui-Gon Jinn taking Anakin under his robes and sneaking him out of Tatooine? Watto would have been like, hey, your Jedi tricks will not work on me. I see that you have 4 feet. You know, it's crazy. The prequels were called trash then, and now they seem amazing. Oh, has the quality in Hollywood fallen? Anyway, back on episode 4, they failed to use the momentum from episode 3 to create more tension and drama, and instead they decide to throw in an ill-inspired rescue mission. Bravo! After episode 2, it was evident to me that the series needed more episodes to develop the story, but they opted to slow it down and even shorten the episode. 6 episodes is not enough, especially if you're going to throw in these filler, waste of time episodes. The story for the series seems like it was written by drunk children who all got lazy and then played the Fallen Order video game, copied some plot points and then submitted it for script inspection. That eventually gets greenlit by a multi-billion-dollar company. That is exactly how it went down. You heard it here first, because there's no other way you can explain the absolute ineptitude and the incompetence of that writing. Imagine if the writers had to challenge themselves by creating a fun and interesting way for Kenobi to infiltrate Vader's castle. Something like Mission Impossible 4 when they infiltrate the Kremlin. But oh wait, a sequence like that would actually take talent and time and preparation. The fact that the most wanted person in the galaxy walked into the most heavily guarded facilities in the galaxy, walked out with 4 legs and without a single scratch on him, and not one person gave a crap. That is just ridiculous. See, Disney, I might be dumb, but I ain't no dumbass. You're gonna need to try a little harder than that. The only way that this show can be saved, folks, is if Morbius appears in the last episode and emphatically screams, "It's Morbin time, Obi-Wan!" That is the ultimate, optimal cinematic masterpiece ending. And speaking of completely useless and empty characters, let's get to who this show is really all about. And that would be Reva. Yes, Reva's the smartest, most powerful character in the entire franchise. No one can compare to her. She can detect hidden passageways in mere moments. She can detect double agents with ease. She can foresee that Obi-Wan was going to break in and rescue the little girl, and instead of setting a trap, she has the foresight, the incredible foresight, to place a tracker on him instead. And thus, so she can expose any and everyone working with him. I mean, wow. I can't even put into words how incredible her intelligence truly is. Look, bottom line, she's not very well written, choreographed, or even acted. Star Wars is a place for everyone. Nobody should feel excluded, period. But that doesn't mean they should be free from criticism just because of their race or gender. And speaking of that, I think it's a little bit ironic, because if Disney really cared about race, they wouldn't have shrunk a black man and taken the Hispanic man off their Chinese Star Wars posters. Anyway, look, so far, episode 1, Leia is captured. Episode 2, Obi-Wan saves her. Episode 3, Leia is captured again, and then Obi-Wan saves her. Wow, such engaging storytelling. The thing is, we already know that Leia gets out perfectly fine. We see it in A New Hope. The fact that this show centers so much around Leia getting captured and Obi-Wan finding her just gives the show zero stakes. You know, for a show called Obi-Wan Kenobi, there seems to be very little substance regarding Obi-Wan himself, and virtually nothing about his past or backstory, but that's up until episode 5. So let's get to episode 5. Before episode 5, I was struggling to see why they even brought back Hayden Christensen. So far, it's been the Reva show, but episode 5 was easily the best out of all 5. However, it's still a 6 out of 10. If you were to go on social media, namely the garbage that is Twitter, you would have thought that this episode was on par with Godfather Part 2 or Citizen Kane. Yay, hooray! Hayden and Ewan McGregor finally shared the screen again. Kenobi is the bestest Star Wars ever. This is jingling keys at its best. It's sad that this is all it takes to get fans excited. And even worse, they forgive everything else. That's just not right. And that is why we keep getting such crappy Star Wars, because we can be placated so easily. Saying that, we have to give credit where credit is due. This episode did have glimpses of what I was hoping the whole series would have been. Memories of 2 old friends doing things. I thought Hayden was great, apart from the fact that he looked like a 40-year-old Padawan. Because although his face was comically older, he slips into being the same character he was 20 years ago, playing that arrogant, scared, fictitious character. I mean, I've always liked Hayden Christensen. I just think he was given poor direction from Georgie boy. So you have a very interesting flashback, but then everything around the flashback sucks balls. For example, how Reva survived a lightsaber stab and Qui-Gon Jinn didn't is beyond me. Actually, wait, I do know. It's because women are strong and men are weak. But this goes back to my point of this show not only being canon breaking and lacking any stakes, because if everybody can come back from that, then why bother? Who cares cares? Why even have that scene in there? Nothing has any weight, nothing has any meaning whatsoever. And before I go, I just want to say this show should have been an introspective spirit journey for Obi-Wan, with the main focus being the mysticism of the Force. And because he has PSD and he's detached from the Force, he'd have to search within himself to regain connection. Throw in some backstory of him as a younger Padawan. Give us some live action Clone Wars scenes and him deepening his connection with Luke. That's it. That's all you need to give us for a first season. But no, Lucasfilm says we can't have nice things. Anyways, boys, I'm gonna go watch Revenge of the Sith because it felt like a masterpiece. That movie takes me back to a time where I was actually excited for anything Star Wars. And on that bombshell, baby, Mannix out.